Okay, now these are those ones at the end. Okay, once you get in the groove, they're not as hard as they look. First thing I made it the first thing you have to do is spot your plus and just circle each side of the plus because those are both terms. Then you're going to make your fraction lines and you're going to have to come up with an LCD. So here I got x parentheses 3 plus x to the half power. Here I got 6 on top and then 3 plus x to the half power. The denominator is empty. So the only thing you have to worry about in your denominator is a parentheses factor of 3 plus x. Now in the first one I have 1/2. The next one I have 0. Remember the top doesn't count, only the bottom. So you need to raise this so it has 1/2. So you're going to go 3 plus x to the 1/2 power. Now don't make another one on top because you already have a 3 plus x. What you do is add 1/2 to 1/2. Well, that's 1 whole. Okay? Now everything's good. I make my new fraction because now the denominators are the same. I just put one of them down here. Then I simplify the top. You got x. Remember, the exponent's now gone because I brought a 3 plus x to the half down here. But since I already had that factor on top, I just added to the exponent. So it's going to be 18 plus 6x, and that becomes 7x plus 18. So really not that bad. Okay, next one, same idea here. By the way, my powers aren't very good. They're more clear in the textbook. If you got a plus or minus, put it in parentheses. The pluses that you circle are the ones between the fractions. So I got 5 plus x. I got 7x to the half power. And up here I just got x to the half power. So LCD. You have an outside 7. You have outside x. And then you don't have anything here. So outside 7, I got 1 here and 0 here. So the one with 0, I take a 7, then I put a 7 there. Now outside x, it's to the half power there, and we don't have any there. So I got to raise this. I got to bring x to the half power. So they both have that. Now, since you already have an x, you add that power to what's already up there, and that's 1. Okay, so if it's 1, we don't need it. Okay, so now my common denominator is 7x to the 1/2 power. Then here you got 5 plus x plus 7x. Combine like terms, 6x plus 5. Boom. Now look at where the pluses are at outside right there. So that's a term. And yes, I don't see another plus or minus outside. So this whole lump of crap is one term. Now trust me, I know you don't see fractions, but you're going to need them. Not on the first one. First one you got 5x. And then you got quantity x squared minus 5 to the half power. But it's that second one. You got x squared. By the way, all this crap outside of the parentheses in this term, you're going to simplify that. You take 1/2 times 5, that's 1. And then your x second times your x is x to the third. Now you can get rid of that crud. Okay. Now also with the negative power, that parentheses moves to the bottom, so its power is now positive. So again, that's why it's important to circle. Like here you just got 5x outside. That's a power. Here you got this, 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 and this. Well, you multiply the numerical values, and then you add x second, x third. Okay, so LCD. Well, the only LCD we have to worry about is the x squared minus 5. So you have 0 here. Remember, you don't even look at the top. Here you got a half. Okay, so we want that to be a half. So I bring in that factor, x squared minus 5 to the half power. Now, I already have that up here, so I just add that power to what's up there. Okay, and that's 1. Well, if it's 1, I don't need the power. Okay, so now everything's the same. So you got x to the second minus 5, 1/2. Okay, then you distribute. That'd be 5x to the third minus 25x plus the 1x to the third. Now combine like terms, that's 6x to the third minus 25x. So really once I get in the groove here, I'm good to go. Okay, again, circle where your plus sign's at. That's one term, that's another term. Okay, here you just got, you don't have any negative exponents, so you're just going to keep that where it's at. A couple things you got to watch out for here. You're out, that's an exponent too, by the way. It's to the negative 2. The parentheses is to the negative 2/3 power. Now, when you got your 1/5, you're going to put 1 over 5, and that x goes on top. But that parentheses moves into the denominator, so that negative 2/3 is now positive 2/3. Okay, so your LCD, you don't even have anything here to start with. You have an outside 5, and you have the x plus 6 quantity, parentheses, to the 2/3 power. Outside 5, I have 0 here, 1 here, so we're going to raise that up by 1, just put it in front. X plus 6 to the 2/3, we have 0 here. Remember, you don't look at the top. I can't emphasize that enough. And you have 2/3 down here. Well, you want this to match the 2/3. So you're going to bring in the x plus 6 to the 2/3 power. Now, you're not going to put another one because you already have that. You just add the 2/3. Well, 1/3 plus 2/3 is 1 whole. Eliminates the exponent. So the common denominator, you got 5, parentheses, x plus 6 to the 2/3 power. Then over here, you're going to have 5x plus 30 plus 1x. That's 6x plus 30. Okay, let's keep her rolling. Okay, here's your plus. The only plus you got outside, so that is 1 whole term, and that is 1 whole term. Okay, some things you're going to do here. You are going to rewrite those square roots as parentheses to the 1/2 power. And that 1 you don't need. This can just go in place of the 1 here. So parentheses 5x plus 6 to the 1/2 power. And the same on bottom. You're going to write your 3 in the parentheses x plus 2 to the 1/2 power. Remember, that can just replace the 1 when you're multiplying. So that's parentheses x plus 2 to the 1/2 power. And down here, you got 5, and you're going to write that as 5x plus 6 to the 1/2 power. Okay, now you have to come up with your lowest common denominator. So you got 3, outer 3, and outer 5. Then you got the 2 parentheses factors. You've got x plus 2 and 5x plus 6. Now, these outer whole numbers, so outer 3 got 1 and 0. So you're actually going to take your 5 times 3. Okay, that 5 that's already there gets multiplied by 3. Now it's at 15. And then I bring 3 to the top. Now just trust me, it's going to work, okay? Now outer 5, remember I had 1 here, 0 here, and 1 here. Actually, what you're trying to do essentially is get these both to 15, because that's the least common multiple. If you had denominators with 3 and 5, least common denominator is 15. So to get the 3 to 15, you times it by 5, 15, and you got to remember to bring that 5 up there. That's how that's going to work. Now, x plus 2, you got a 1/2 power here and nothing there. So you're going to put x plus 2 to the 1/2 power. And again, I'm just going to add a 1/2 to the x plus 2 that's already there, which eliminates the power because that's 1 whole. 5x plus 6, okay? Remember, you don't look at the top. You have 0 and 1, okay? So it was 1/2, my bad, 1/2. So we bring in the 5x plus 6 to the 1/2 power. Then I just add a half there, and that gets rid of it. So my common denominator is 15, quantity 5x plus 6 to the 1/2 power, quantity x plus 2 to the 1/2 power. Okay, now here you got 25x plus 30 plus 3x plus 6. So it's going to be 28x plus 36. Boom. Okay, next one. Again, I told you, you do not want to write those roots. All those do is convolute the problem. So you're going to write that as parentheses 5x minus 2 to the 1/3 power. And then 5, and write that. This one's going to be to the 2/3 power because it's 2 out there. So quantity x plus 3 to the 2/3 power. Parentheses x plus 3 to the 1/3 power, and then you got 20, and you're going to write that as parentheses 5x minus 2, not to the 1/3 because there's a 2 out there, so it's to the 2/3 power. Okay, so your LCD, you got outer 5, outer 20, those are your two outer factors. Then you've got parentheses x plus 3 to the 2/3 power, parentheses 5x minus 2 to the 2. No, just don't put the powers. Okay, so outer 5 and outer 20. Look, couldn't I get those both to 20 pretty easily? I think I could, okay? If you look at them, I could take the 5 times 4, bring a 4 on top. Now that's at 20. Now we can forget those. I know that's not how I did it last year, but x plus 3, you got a 2/3 and then nothing down here. So you need to bring it up, the x plus 3, and it needs to be to the 2/3 power so it matches this. Now you just add 2/3 of that up there, it's 1 whole. Noticing a pattern here. 5x minus 2, you have 0 and a 2/3. So we're going to take the first one, 5x minus 2 to the 2/3, and then you're going to add 2/3 to that, which now gets rid of the exponent because that's 1. Okay, so that's a common denominator. You got 20, parentheses 5x minus 2 to the 2/3 power, parentheses x plus 3 to the 2/3 power. Okay, now this is going to be 20x minus 8, and then plus x, 1x plus 3. So that's 21x minus 5. Now, you got fractions within a fraction. Here's what I would recommend you do. Cross that out. And just remember to go down here before you're... We're actually going to finish a problem here. At the end, we're going to multiply 2 fractions. The second one is going to be 1 over what was in that denominator, 4 plus x. Okay. That's how you're going to divide by that. Now just look at this. I'm not a big fan of minuses. Just leave it minus. It's not going to hurt you. Minus. Now remember what I said about square rooted expressions. You write them in parentheses to the 1/2 power. Okay, now this x can replace the 1 with the 2, but write that as 4 plus x to the 1/2 power. Now your lowest common denominator. You don't have anything there. You have an outside 2 here. And you have the quantity, the parentheses of 4 plus x. So outside 2, 0 and 1. Okay. Make sure you put a 2 there. Put it in front if it's outside. 4 plus x. You don't have any there, but you have it to the 1/2 power here. So let's get 4 plus x to the 1/2 power here. And again, I add to the exponent. Oh, 1 whole. Okay, now you're not ready for your answer. You got to come here. So you're going to put your common denominator 2 parentheses 4 plus x to the 1/2 power. So I got 8 plus 2x minus 1x. So that's 1x plus 8. Just put x plus 8. Okay, now put that in parentheses and that. Now the tops, multiplying the numerators is easy, okay? And these, you just, times 1, it'd just be x plus 8. Now the bottom, to multiply that, you're going to put your 2. Now you notice how these are both the same? That'd be to the first power. So I put 4 plus x, and I take 1/2 plus 1. Well, that'd be 1.5, but in algebra they want it written as 3 over 2. Because 1 and 1/2 is 3 over 2. So watch out for that. Because these had the identical expressions, okay? It means we can just add the powers. Okay, remember what I told you. When you got a complex fraction, just put the 1 over the 3x to the second plus 2, and then forget about it. Because when you divide by something, you're really multiplying by the reciprocal 1 over it. Okay, minus, circle that crap, and now you can see exactly what you have. Okay, remember, we need to write that as quantity 3x squared plus 2 to the 1/2 power. Now you're going to want to multiply the x by the 5x, be 5x squared, clean that up. You're going to have 5, and then please, again, write that as a quantity, 3x squared plus 2 to the 1/2 power. Okay, so LCD got outer 5. And you got the quantity 3x squared plus 2. Outer 5, 0, and 1. So you bring a 5 here and here. 3x squared plus 2, you don't have any, you have 0 there, but you have it to the 1/2 power here. So bring it to the 1/2 power here. So it's already on top, I just add 1/2 to it. Okay, now you have your common denominator. So you got 5 parentheses 3x squared plus 2 to the 1/2 power. And then here you distribute. It's going to be 15x to the second plus 10 minus 5x to the second. So it's going to be 10x to the second plus 10. Put that in parentheses, and that one too. So the bottom, the top, you just got 10x squared plus 10. The bottom, you got the 5, but since these are identical expressions, we can add their powers. 1/2 plus 1 is 1.5, which is 3 over 2. Okay, next one, same idea. Okay. You want to get that, again, I can't emphasize that enough. When you're doing these and you start with a fraction, you're going to want to switch it to a multiplication problem with 1 over quantity x minus 7. Then I can forget that and then go to town here. Minus is there. So the first term you got, luckily it's already there, nothing I need to change. Here I got 5x, that's on top. But since that has a negative power, it goes to the bottom. Okay, so LCD, you got nothing, and you got x minus 7. 0 here, 1/2 here. Okay, so you bring that up, then you add 1/2. Okay. And that's going to be 1 full, means you can get rid of the exponent. So here you got x minus 7 to the 1/2 power. And you got to simplify the top. You have 1x minus 7 minus 5x. Well, that's going to be negative 4x minus 7. Parenthesize that. Now on the top, you're just multiplying by 1, which is just the identical expression. Now it's the bottom where you got 2 identical expressions, but if that's to the 1/2 and that's the first, you're going to add your powers, which is 1.5, but that would be 3 over 2. Oh, la-da-dee-da-dee-da. I made a mistake here. That's to the second power up there. So again, 1 over 5 minus 3x second, and I can just forget about the denominator. Remember where your plus sign's at. And now you go to work with your LCD. Okay? Remember, I'm not looking at that. Okay? So on top, it's already in parentheses, no negative x. I don't see any roots. I don't see any negative exponents. Just put it on top. Don't see any roots. I do see a negative exponent, but the x second is not negative. It stays on top. This goes to the bottom, where it's negative 1/2 is now positive. Okay, LCD. Just that. It's the only one you have to worry about. Remember, you don't count it on top. You have 0 and 1/2. Okay, let's get this to be 1/2 then. So I put parentheses 5 minus 3x to the second to the half, then plus 1/2. That takes it to 1. Okay, and that's good enough. Okay, now our common denominator has been, we got that, parentheses 5. By the way, put that in parentheses with plus. Remember I told you last year, put pluses and minuses in parentheses when doing this simplifying. Okay, and on top you got 5 minus 3x squared, nothing you're multiplying by, that's why I'm just dropping the parentheses out, and then plus x to the second, 1. That'd be negative 2x to the second plus 5. Okay, now again, multiplying by 1 means it's just the negative 2x squared plus 5. Now down here, these are the same expressions. That's 1/2, that's a first. So I go parentheses 5 minus 3x to the second. 1/2 plus 1 is 1.5, but they want you to write it as 3.5, as 3 over 2. Okay, 4 more. Okay, good. You don't have that fraction within a fraction crap. Okay. Basically, that 1 over down there I'm doing is if I have a bunch of crap up top and then just a bottom that has that. But here I have 2 separate bottoms, so I'm good to go. I don't need that. I screwed this up too. This needs to be to the x squared minus 4 right there. Otherwise, and another thing, this needs to have, no, we're good. Okay. So again, no square roots, no negative exponents. You can just put everything down there as you see it. No negatives, no square roots. Again, you can just put everything down there. Okay, now LCD. So you've got x to the second power minus 4. And you also have outside x. Now that's to the 1/2 power. That's not even there, so 0. We want to raise that up. And predictably then, I can just add a 1/2 power to that. Okay, outside x. That is not an outside x. You don't count that. It's on top. You don't even have it there. You have it to the second power there. So we're going to put x to the second, and I just add 2 to what's already there. So that'd be x to the 5th. Common denominator, I now have x squared, parentheses x squared minus 4 to the 1/2 power. Okay, now here you got 5 minus. Actually, you got to watch out here when you minus here. When you have 2 things after the minus, you actually write minus 1x second, and then you switch the minus 4 to plus 4 is how that works. So that's going to be 9 minus 1x to the second. That's why I don't like minuses, okay, at all. Okay, this one here I jacked up pretty bad. This one here needs to be the negative half power. Just I wrote that wrong. So again, when I have just one thing in the denominator, you're going to need to simplify the top using the LCD. Then at the end, you just multiply that by 1 over x squared plus 6. Which is to the first power. Keep that in mind. Okay, now you just get rid of that. Here's your minus. That's where you look. Circle your plus minus, and then you circle what's like between them, and that's all. That's your terms. Okay, we don't have any square roots, no negative exponents. We just drop that down on top. Remember, that's to the negative half, so that is fine, but that is not. That needs to go to the bottom where it becomes positive half. So LCD, you are just looking at the parentheses of x squared plus 6. 0, 1/2. So we want that to have 1/2. This to the half power on bottom. Then add a half, and again, predictably, that's 1, so the exponent goes away. Okay, so the common denominator is fine, but I got to remember here. Now simplify the top, okay? Remember, you're going to be taking 1x squared plus 6 minus 1x squared. Well, 1 minus 1, 0. That gives me 6. Well, 6 times 1, 6, and then we add a half plus 1. That's 3 over 2. Okay, 2 more. Okay, same idea here. You're going to multiply by 1 over the parentheses 2 minus x second over 2/3. Now we can forget that. Here is my plus. Everything on one side, everything on the other. Okay, 5 stays where it's at. X stays where it's at. The parentheses already has a positive exponent, so it stays where it's at. Remember, if it's a root, you rewrite it as a parentheses with the exponent as a fraction, as you saw earlier. Here you put 2 on top, 5 on bottom. X thirds fine on top. The parentheses is not fine on the top. You got to move it to the bottom so that its negative exponent goes positive. Okay, now your LCD, you don't have anything there. Outer 5. And then the parentheses of 2 minus x. Outer 5, you have 0. Remember, that doesn't count. It's on top. 0, 1. Now I'm just going to times this 5 already here by 5, which is 25. Okay, 2 minus x, you have none here. You have 2/3 here. So you want that 0 to now have this to the 2/3 power so it can match up with that. Sorry, it's 2 minus x to the second, my bad. Now, I don't need to bring another one on top. I already have it. I just need to add to the power, and that's 3/3, which is 1. And now I have my common denominator, 5, 2 minus x to the second to the 2/3 power. All right, simplify your tops, okay? You're going to take x times 2, it's going to be 2x. And then 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, but that x now, x times x seconds, x third plus 2x to the third. Combine those, that's 1x to the third plus 2x. Now on top, you just write that expression. All you're doing is multiplying it by 1. Bottom, got the 5, but these are identical parentheses now. We add 2/3 plus 2/3, which is 4/3. Parentheses 2 minus x to the second to the power of 4/3. Okay, finally, last one. Okay, remember what I told you, okay? Complex fraction, you just get rid of that, and you just put a multiplication problem with 1 over the 3 plus, what was up there originally? 3 plus x to the second, and that was to the second. Okay, now I'm ready to roll. By the way, if you don't like that minus, just make it plus negative there. Okay, top, 3 plus x, remember, put a parentheses around plus or minus symbols. Okay, now on the bottom, you're fine, but you want to write that 5, instead of 5 times the square root of x, you're going to write 5 times x to the half power. Same thing here. Negative 5x, but you want to write that x to the half power. Remember, you don't want square roots here. That's the point of writing them in fractional exponent. So LCD, I've got outer 5, outer x, and then nothing over here. So outer 5, I got 1 and 0. I'll just take that negative 5 times 5, which is negative 25. Then outer x, it's to the 1/2 power here. It is not existent down here. So I want to bring in an x to the half power. And what do you know? I add a half to a half, and that's going to be 1 whole. So down here we got 5 times x to the 1/2 power. Okay. Okay, and on top you're going to have 3 plus 1x to the second. Now in the other fraction you got negative 25x to the second. Okay, so when I simplify that, it's going to be negative 24x to the second plus 3. Now, this time's a little bit different. You're going to write negative 24x to the second plus 3. But here you don't have identical expressions. So what you do is you just lump that all together. You go 5x to the half power, parentheses, 3 plus x to the second raised to the second.